Welcome to the Widowed Mom Podcast, episode 329, Why Waiting for Motivation Keeps You Stuck.
Welcome to the Widowed Mom Podcast, the only podcast that offers a proven process to help you work through your grief, to grow, evolve, and create a future you can truly look forward to. Here's your host, Master Certified Life Coach, grief expert, widow, and mom, Krista St-Germain.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of the podcast. How are you? Things are going well here. It is cooling off, which has been absolutely wonderful. Wonderful after a very hot first half of August. I'm recording this at the very end of August, but it's unusually cool here and rainy, which I love. I am missing my daughter, who is in Prague for the semester. It's going well. Lots of growth opportunities. She is working with study abroad students. I know it's hard work for her, but I think she's having fun and there's a lot of growing happening, which is fun to watch from a distance. I will go and see her hopefully in December. And then my youngest is enjoying semester number 1 at our local university, Go Shocks, living at home, getting involved on campus, and just figuring out how to navigate college, studying and campus life and all of that. It's also really nice that our new house is only 10 minutes away from campus because it's a very short drive. And it's kind of fun to be close to all the action, not just on campus, but just generally speaking, we're closer to the center of the city, which is different. I haven't really ever lived this close to where everything is happening, which is kind of nice. So things are going well. So I hope things are going well for you too. So in today's episode, I want to talk about why waiting for motivation keeps you stuck. And I want you to really hear me on this because it comes up everywhere. Small daily tasks and big life decisions. So here's what I have seen. Motivation is not nearly as important as we have been taught to think that it is. And it is definitely not something we want to consider as the starting point. So your primitive brain is designed to do 3 things really, really well. Seek pleasure, avoid pain, be efficient. I did an entire episode on this very early in the podcast called the Motivational Triad for Widows. You can go check that out. That wiring kept our ancestors alive. I'm glad that it is there. But in modern life, in today's world, and especially after loss, that wiring can work against us. Because let's be honest, most of the things that we're going to do after our person dies, they don't feel pleasurable. They are not efficient. They don't feel like something we want to do. And they often involve pain because we're in grief. We're experiencing grief. Sorting through belongings, going back to work, new routines, parenting, dealing with estate paperwork, taxes, doctor forms, especially when you have to check the widow box. Even things that maybe were mundane at one point, like exercising or paying bills or cooking meals, are things that we likely won't feel motivated to do. And of course, we won't feel motivated to do those things. Nothing has gone wrong when that happens. But we've all been told a lie, and it kind of looks like this. Motivation creates action, which creates results. That's what we think. We think motivation is needed before we will take action and before we can create results. And because we have experienced the kind of fleeting nature of motivation, it's kind of on again and it's off again, and sometimes we're there and sometimes we're not. We think that if we just wait long enough, motivation will at some point appear, we will feel it, and then we will be ready to act, and that we can't actually act until we feel motivated. But that is not how it works. The truth is that it's actually more like action creates momentum, which creates motivation. Motivation is not what starts the fire. It's not the fuel we use to start the fire. It's more like the bed of hot coals that shows up once the fire is already burning. That's how I want you to think of it. So if you're waiting to feel like it, if you're waiting to feel motivated before you take action, you might be waiting a long, long time. And if that's not what you want, that's not what I want for you. So instead of using motivation as our fuel, let's consider commitment. Commitment is so much more reliable than motivation. Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes. Sometimes we're believing the thoughts required to create it. Sometimes they aren't believable to us. Commitment is a choice that we get to make. Commitment sounds like, I don't have to feel like it. I've already decided. I'm doing it. It's happening. That's what commitment sounds like. Think about the difference between using motivation versus using commitment. Motivation says, I'll do it if I feel like it. I'll exercise when I feel like it. I'll pay the bills when I feel like it. I'm really not in the mood to do that thing. Commitment says, I exercise because my health matters to me. I exercise because I want to have a lot of energy for my grandkids. I exercise because I want to age gracefully and have a high quality of life and good bone density and muscle mass, even when I don't feel like it. Commitment says, I care about this thing so much that I don't need to feel like doing it. I just do it. One is very fleeting and can leave you stuck. The other is something you can grab at any time. You can choose for yourself at any time, and it will move you forward. I see this all the time as an example for widows when it comes to deciding what to do with your person's belongings, your person's stuff. And by the way, when I use this example, this is in no way me saying that you should be dealing with your person's belongings, that there is a timeline for such things, that you're wrong if you haven't. There is no timeline. You totally get to decide. You're not wrong if you haven't, right? But if you have decided that you want to do it and you like your reasons, which is what I'm assuming here, then if something is in your way, we want to get it out of the way. So this is what I see. Someone has decided, I do want to do this. I do like my reasons, and yet I don't feel motivated. Therefore, the timing isn't right. They want to do it, but they just don't feel motivated to do it. So they wait for the day that they'll feel motivated. Or they might ask me for help on how to feel motivated. Either way, right? The day doesn't come. The feeling of motivation doesn't come as fast as they want it to. And then months go by, sometimes years go by, and they're still not taking action that part of them really wants to take, but they just don't feel motivated to do. And this makes so much sense, right? Because dealing with your person's stuff doesn't look anything like seeking pleasure. It doesn't look anything like avoiding pain. It is in no way efficient. It actually looks like the opposite of those things. It is quite painful. It is not a lot of pleasure in it. And it takes time and it requires effort, which is not efficient. And motivation probably isn't coming. It's not really reasonable to expect that we're going to feel motivated to do that kind of a thing. So shifting into commitment, on the other hand, is a very different experience. So commitment says, yes, this is going to be uncomfortable. I have decided to start with one drawer. I have decided to set a timer and do it for 15 minutes. I value creating a space that feels good for me, and I am committed to doing this one step at a time. Commitment says, this isn't going to feel good, and I'm willing to let it not feel good. I am willing to stay present with myself, to stay present with how I feel, because I want it done. I'm committed to figuring this out. I can be kind to myself in the process. This is happening, and I don't expect to feel good until I'm done. Do you see the difference? Commitment is fuel that you can use to move yourself forward. You do not need motivation. You don't. Commitment. I also see this all the time with women who tell me that they're interested in my coaching programs and they tell me that they want to join, but then they will end up saying, well, I just don't feel ready. I just don't feel quite good about it. I'm just not sure the time is right. And they're internally looking to feel something different than what they currently feel. They're expecting themselves to feel motivated. But just like going through belongings, the brain is not motivated to do these things. The brain resists change. It wants to avoid discomfort. Of course, motivation is not there. Coming into a program, where you're actually going to deal with aspects of grief that are painful and do things that are quite inefficient, right? Looking at your own thinking and considering who you are and what you want next and what's in the way. All of these things, they require us to feel difficult feelings. They require us to do hard things. And yes, we actually do laugh a lot. Coaching can be fun even in a grief setting. But it's not really any primitive brain's idea of fun. So the people that do decide to do that work don't wait to feel motivated. And the people who do get results, like learn to love life again after loss, are the ones who don't wait on motivation and they take action from commitment. They decide, I don't need to feel ready. I don't need to look forward to this. I don't need to feel good before this happens. I'm doing this because I want a future that I actually want to live, because it will feel good when I'm done. And so I'm committed. And that's the difference. And I want you to be thinking about where are the areas of your life that you are waiting for motivation that may never come. And what would change if you just decided to make a commitment and let commitment be the fuel? I want to give you a couple of practical tools that you can try. First of all, tiny, tiny, tiny. Make it tiny. Shrink the task to the smallest possible step. What is the next smallest step I could take towards where I want to go? It can be a 1-minute task, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, one drawer, one email. One of my favorite mantras has always been, and I thank you, Fly Lady, I can do anything for 15 minutes. I have leveraged the snot out of that over the last 20 years. I can do anything for 15 minutes because I believe it and it feels small to me. And so if you can make something even ridiculously small, you're probably in a pretty sweet spot to actually take action. It's easier to commit to something that you have decided is tiny or small. So make it tiny. The second thing I want to offer that you can do is to anchor to your values. Instead of do I feel like it, right, which is again fleeting and maybe it'll come, maybe it won't. Ask, who do I want to be today? What do I want to be the example of today? What value do I want to live into today? Anchor to your values. And then, of course, expect discomfort. When your brain says, I don't feel like it, your answer is, yeah, I know. Of course, of course we don't feel like it. Feeling like it is irrelevant. I'm doing it because I want what's on the other side. I don't expect it to be comfortable. I actually expect it to be uncomfortable. I expect discomfort. I am willing to pursue discomfort. Discomfort, as Brooke Castillo says, is the currency to your dreams. And it's true if you're willing to feel it. Not because you're pursuing something you don't want, right? And I don't mean that we want to encourage discomfort from a should. We want to encourage discomfort when there's something you want, you like your reasons for wanting it, and it doesn't feel great in the doing. Okay, green light. Yeah. And the last thing is just to talk back to your brain. You can say things. I say things like this all the time. Thanks, brain. I see you. I see you trying to keep me safe. Thank you. I've got this. We're going to be okay. We can feel this. It's okay. We don't need to feel motivated. We're just going to feel committed. Thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Okay? Motivation is not required. Commitment is great fuel. If there's something you really want to do or something that you really want to change and you've been waiting for motivation to show up and it hasn't, nothing has gone wrong. It's just your brain doing brain things. And you don't have to stay stuck. You can choose commitment right now instead. So I want you to ask yourself, where have I been waiting for motivation that may never come? What would it look like if I took action from commitment instead? What if I took the next tiniest action? And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. But give yourself credit because you have already survived uncomfortable feelings thousands of times, and you are still here. If you knew for sure that you could handle the discomfort and you stopped wasting time waiting for motivation to float down the river in your general direction, imagine what you could create. Imagine what you want that you could create. Okay? If one of the places you've been waiting for motivation to strike is to join one of my programs, let this be your sign. Motivation, it's not necessary. Commitment will get you there. You can go to coachingwithkrista.com, take the free grief stage assessment, and I will help you find the right program for what you need next in grief. That is what I have for you this week. Remember, I love you. You've got this. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. If you like what you've been hearing on this podcast and want to create a future you can truly get excited about even after the loss of your spouse, I invite you to join my Mom Goes On coaching program. It's small group coaching just for widowed moms like you, where I'll help you figure out what's holding you back and give you the tools and support you need so you can move forward with confidence. Please don't settle for a new normal that's less than what you deserve. Go to coachingwithkrista.com and click Work With Me for details and next steps. I can't wait to meet you.